Hello and welcome to the next episode of the Truth Behind Dentistry. My guest today is Allison Norris, the founder of Dentele and CEO of Dentele. She's an amazing recruiter in the world that most clinicians in dentistry and staff in dentistry are looking to get into more, the business side. She specializes in getting jobs for the cohort of dental professionals that are looking to move from clinical to non-clinical dentistry. And she does a really, really good job of it too. She's one of the only ones I've ever met that does this, if not the only person I've ever met in dentistry that does this. Allison, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
So tell us what gave you the idea to come up with the Dentele Group, and what do you guys do?
I was with an orthodontic tech startup company. And while I was there, I was building this affiliate program. And we were going to offer, the plan was to offer non clinical opportunities to clinicians. And when I resigned from that startup, I said, I have this whole database of clinicians and I have all these clinicians that I'm connected to. So why not just take this database and figure out a way to make it mutually beneficial to myself and someone else. And so that's when I launched the Dentele Group. So I work with, dental and healthcare industry companies, and I do their hiring. They're on non-clinical roles.
What would you say, what percentage of clinical professionals out there have expressed a desire or have exited into the non-clinical side of dentistry, like sales support, C-level positions? What percentage would you say that is?
It's a lot. I was actually reading the statistics about it, and if you hadn't asked me that, I would probably be able to tell you. But I mean, there was a mass exodus, and I believe that there's a good bit. I'll tell you that. I don't know the exact percentage, but I will tell you that I have at least 30 to 40 clinicians reaching out to me every single day asking, how they can get out.
Do you notice there's a similarity in how their tone and their approach to you is? Like, do they all come to you and say, "I'm just burned out"?
Some of them say they're burned out, but I'll tell you, probably the most heartbreaking thing for me and the reason why I'm continuing to do this, because I could have given up so many times. I have so many dental hygienists and so many dentists that send me the message, "What can I do? What am I qualified to do?" And that breaks my heart because it's like they've completely just had blindfolds on and or have been blinded this whole time, and they have forgotten just how smart they are and intelligent they are and just their worth, you know? And that's difficult. That's difficult, but even though it breaks my heart, I'm able to help them, and so it makes the whole situation better.
That answers the question. It's very gratifying. I mean, it's interesting. They don't know what they don't know. They've just been a hygienist for all
Absolutely.
these years, and they never understood what sales development and business terminologies, all that stuff is all about. And I imagine you get involved a little bit in the mentorship coaching side of things too. You run your own podcast, I know of.
Yeah, yeah, and I really like the mentoring side. I really do. I mean, I actually kind of circling back to your comment just then about, you don't know what you don't know. When I left clinical, the only thing I thought I could do was go and work at a remote billing company because I knew how to do front office because I was always cross-trained. But while I was over at that billing company, me being this, the proactive go-getter, I guess, that I am, I approached the CEO and said that they should, or, suggested they should launch a consulting division. And so I helped build the consulting division over there. So I think it takes a proactive person, in order to really kind of get out of clinical. But
How let me ask you this. How are you impacting dentistry, and how do you wish to see dentistry change, let's say the day you say goodbye to it?
I hope that no matter what, that everyone starts, clinicians, especially hygienists and assistants, start to understand and value themselves and recognize their worth. And hygienists, especially now, granted, there are some that I wouldn't let near my mouth, but the majority of them are super talented, super qualified, and should be able to, practice more independently. I mean, be able to practice and have more responsibility, I guess you could say, or autonomy.
Yep. What are some of these positions out there like? Are they working for product manufacturers? Are they C-level management positions or sales support? Can you give us some idea?
Yeah. I think that some of the best ones for some of the best positions for them to transition into are like implementation or integration with software companies. There's training positions, operations management. I have a lot of hygienists that move into director of operation roles.
What's the pay range on like a director of operations sort of role?
Anywhere from, it just depends on the responsibilities. I mean, if it's a smaller organization, I would say maybe 100, but maybe like 125, 150, just depending on what company it is.
That's more than what they're making right now, even on the
Oh
Cloud
yeah.
Dentistry platform.
That's one of the things that drives me nuts about about this too, is there's this there's so many misconceptions when it comes to leaving clinical. For example, you have to get a bachelor's degree to be in sales. That's completely false. I have placed so many people without a degree. Placed assistants that have a certification, and there's a ton of positions where they're making, I mean, my minimum salary range is around 75. That's minimum.
Minimum, even for dental assistants.
For dental now, they have to be rock stars. Oh, I shouldn't say rock stars because I forget that clinicians don't like to be called rock stars. Um, but that's like the assistants that are go-getters. They're gonna be out there like, well, and hygienists too, proactive. They're not just going to expect things to land in their lap.
Is this like a old saying where there's a will, there's a way sort of scenario where if someone's listening to this out there who's a dental assistant says to themselves, I want to become that, I'm willing to learn, but they don't have that sort of bundle of characteristics innately. Is this something they can learn?
It's really hard to say. I mean, honestly, you're either a go-getter and you're proactive, or you wait for things to land in your lap, you know?
I
And if
see.
you're
That's
if you wait, then it's gonna pass by, you know?
right. So it's for what you're saying is it's that the common denominator or the most important characteristic that you see stand out that helps a candidate excel into the higher pay grade is a go-getter.
Oh, yeah. I would say so.
Interesting.
I mean, like, and it's interesting too, because most would say, "Oh, well, it's someone that has a master's degree or somebody," but not necessarily. I mean, and that's what's been so eye-opening even for me, is because I used to think the same things. I used to think all the comments and all the emails and all the messages on LinkedIn that are sent to me, I used to feel the exact same way and used to think the exact same way. And another hard part for me is when I do start talking to some of these clinicians, and when I start asking them questions, I'm genuinely getting to, trying to get to know them. And they automatically take it defensively, it feels like. And I'm not sure why. I don't know if it's because they felt like so unappreciated in their positions that they're in or what, but I don't know.
And when you say clinicians, you mean the working professionals, the DAs, hygienists, GPs, but what sort of positions do you find tend to gravitate towards you the most?
Hygienist and dentist. I found that dentists now, here recently there have been more assistants, but I found that dentists are actually more embarrassed to they're more hesitant to reach out. It's like they're embarrassed. I spoke with a dentist the other day, and she said, "So what do you think that I can, like, what do you think I have skills for? Or what do you think I can qualify for?" And I said, "What do you mean?" She said, "Well, you know what? I do know a little bit about dental insurance. Maybe I could do dental billing somewhere." And I'm like, "No, I have so much more to offer than that, you know?
Of course.
Uh,
Where would a GP like that fit in well?
Product management or
Mhm.
project management."
Clinical support, director of clinical, sales.
Yeah,
So, well,
things
not
like
necessarily
that.
sales, but what are they
Yeah, I
called?
mean,
Chief dentist?
yeah, oh,
See,
yeah, chief clinical officers.
chief clinical officer. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, I spoke with the, chief clinical officer over at, one of the big holding firms and, multiple companies, and she was just amazing and brilliant woman. It's interesting when you an outsider, like, back a long time ago, it was only like, a little bit ago, back when I was a hygienist, I would have been like, "Oh my gosh, I'm talking to the chief clinical officer of," like, I would have been
Yeah,
so, like, and now I'm
starstruck.
just like, it's just so, like, I don't know, it's still amazing because she's so amazing, but you know what I mean. Anyway,
Where would, candidates that are interested in seeing what's out there be able to see what's out there? Can they visit your website or can they call you?
so that's a tough one because I have so many people reaching out, so I really don't like to talk so much. I've Luckily now I have a team that is very, very helpful and they kinda know. A lot of times they can take some of those calls for me. Some of my positions are on the website. I will, market candidates. Basically, if you are a, exceptional candidate with all kinds of qualifications and you have X, Y, and Z, then I can, reach out to the hiring managers at some companies and kind of get their foot in the door.
Right?
Yeah. I do remember now you had asked me something. I think you were asking about opportunities or something like that. And I forgot what I was going to say earlier, but now I remember it. I don't know if I told you that when I first started the Dentele Group, I was talking to a lot of clinicians, and a lot of them really didn't have much experience outside of just clinical. And so I decided I was going to build an academy. And so I have Dentele Academy.
Sorry, had as in past tense, or you currently have it?
I know I have it. I have it.
Have it. Gotcha.
I just can't remember the password to get into the.
So you built this platform, but you never actually started marketing it.
No, okay, so some people did purchase it, but then I ended up, okay, I have a billing academy, a dental billing academy, and I also have a sales academy, and I'm wanting to work on a recruiting academy. I changed platforms. And so the second platform, I don't remember the password and I can't figure out how to get into it. So I got to figure out how to get it working and running again.